Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's been busy here. Let's see here. We got ES up on the screen. Let me get you pulled up on my phone. And then we will be just about ready to go. I jumped on here just a couple minutes early today. I see there's at least one of you in here right now. All right. So I'm watching ES here. As you can see, and we'll cover this again when a couple more people jump on here, but as you can see, this nice structure here. We had a rally, base, rally, then this nice little pullback right here, which was mostly profit taking. Then we had another pop, and right now we appear to be resting, but we could also be losing momentum, so we'll see. But if we break over the top of this candle, I would think would probably get up here at least to the 2961 level. And I think I have to go to a different chart. Hang on one second here. Let me go to a 1 hour because I have to be able to go back far enough to see what we would have to break over top of. Right there, 2965. I'll make this to where you can see it. Excuse me. So this is the level, the resistance level. This wick is the top. So there was our high point pivot before this strong move to the downside. So if, and you can see where my alert is set right here. If we can break above here, we'll probably pop up to at least this level, if not into this wick. Then might look at some resistance. If we get above this, then we could go even higher, which would be, let me squeeze it in, which would probably be up, up into this range somewhere. There's a pretty big gap between here and there. I don't know if we can go back far enough. I think we have to go to like a 4 hour. Okay, so the top of the expanding range, right? We barely poked our head out, and then we've been working our way back through. Okay, you see this? And that was a range within a range, and now we're trying to go higher. So let's go back to the 30-minute. I see we've got some more folks joining us, so welcome. Okay. Might have to get in a little bit closer here. So we're looking to see if we can break 2955 and then look for a pop higher. Or are we going to get weak here and start selling back down? If I had to guess, and again, I don't like to guess and don't like to predict, but I think we should be able to at least get up here. Tammy, yes, I would. I would take it up until, right around 3:30, and then I don't like to trade after that myself. So I would take same day expiration. In fact, I've got an order loaded in case we do break above here. So we will see. And then if it starts heading back down the other way, that's sort of what I have this level here for. And as you can see why, it's because this is where we pivoted to go higher. See our structure here. Here's our high, here's our low, and then we went up to here. As of now, we may go higher. So that's why I have this level marked, because if we would take that out, then we'd be likely to come here or at least to the bottom of this candle right here. Hey, Yusuf. Good to see you. See, right now, showing a little bit of weakness. but it's still early. This candle just started. We're only 3 minutes into this candle. So if you're trading on the 30-minute, this right here is a nice trade, right? Because we had structure back down, okay? Then this isn't exactly a hammer, but it's hammer-like, right? It tried to go lower right here, and then it pushed back up. So when it takes the top of this out, look what you have lined up. Okay, now Tammy, I know you're new, but when it comes to price action, I'm gonna have to pay attention. It looks like we might be trying to go higher here. When we have this lined up where we have small or medium-sized wicks in a diagonal row, that's what accelerates price to the upside. Okay, let's see. Are we going to take it out? Now, we got to take it out and kind of hold here. So I want to see price start to go higher. Okay, I am in. And we're going to see if we can get a pop. So I need to get everything ready over here. Okay, I entered. I think it said at 6. Let me go back and look. Yes, I entered at 6. So let's see if we can get any kind of pop to the upside here. So we're watching this candle. It broke the top of these two. And we're seeing if we can get any continuation anywhere near this resistance level up here. So that's what we're watching for. And while we wait to see if that's going to play out, again, what we were talking about right here. Okay, so when you take this out, you know that we've got a perfect line right there. So obviously I did take this trade earlier, and you get the nice pop. I would have liked to have seen it, you know, on this candle pop way up in here, but it stalled out right here. Okay, so that's, you know, I exited up in here. So we're just watching to see if we're going to get our continuation. And if we don't, then I just exit if it starts going back the other way. But we're very early since we took out the top of these. So we'll see how it plays out. Okay, right now we're not getting the continuation, so I've got to watch. I got to be careful here because I don't want it to turn around and go back against me. I can always exit and then re-enter. So what I'm watching up here is to see, is this starting to fall? And if it is, then I'll have to just exit and get out. Or does it turn back around and start to go back up? So obviously it is common for it to break a level, pull back, sort of retest, and then go higher. So I just have to keep my eyes open here. Right? I got to keep my eyes open and make sure this doesn't start going back against me. So is this just popping to break through, coming back to retest and going to go higher? Or is it showing weakness and going to try to go lower? That's what I have to watch for. Right now we're just sort of stalled out. And I was telling you guys about level 2 earlier today. Okay, here's the level 2, and you can look for any big numbers. Okay, none of these are considered big numbers right now. So just so you know. Earlier today, there was a couple of times where there was a level and there was like 597 contracts, which is, you know, 59,700 shares at a certain level. You're controlling that many shares at a certain level. blew right through it. No big deal. Same thing on the downside. Later in the day, there was a couple of other higher numbers, high threes, things like that. No problem. Right through it. Gets right up to it. And see, the reason I don't trust level 2 is sometimes it'll get up here and then you will get the rejection. Other times that big number gets up to the top, right? Because this is current price. It'll get up to the top and then it just disappears. And when it's a really big number and it's like the biggest number on the screen by far, okay, you should get some resistance there, right? Now, there could have been somebody just sitting there waiting to buy all those up, okay? I mean, that is possible, but in most cases, that's not likely. Okay, I'm seeing that price is looking like it might turn around here. If this starts to go red, I'm going to exit. I'm waiting. Okay, so right now it's pretty much where it opened. Not going to give it hardly anything else if it doesn't start turning around back my way. Okay, I'm getting out. Okay, I'm out. So that one went against me. Okay, now if it comes back and reclaims this, I can re-enter, right? I can re-enter. Or if it starts to fall and I feel like I would probably go to a different time frame. If that's the case, then I could look to go short. So if it, let's see, to take out this candle, it would have to go to 29.50, and that would take out this candle, 29.50. So that's what we're looking for this way. In fact, let's go to like a 15-minute, right? Because I hop around, I look at different time frames, see what's going on. Okay, see here on the 15-minute, see what we're doing? We're forming sort of a hammer here. Let me close this in, make it a little bit easier to see. Okay. So again, what is this? 29.50, 25. So 29.50 or below starts telling us that possibly we're tired up here, and maybe they want to start taking it the other direction. Okay, here is that structure level we talked about before. It was 2 candles to the top side on the 15-minute. Let me make a little alert right here. There we go. So if it starts to drop, we'll know. And obviously if it starts to go back up, it was 29.55. So we'll remember 29.55. So as you can see, it tried to go higher. It got up to 29.56.50, but now it's reversing. Is this candle? Nope. I was looking to see if this was an inside candle. It's not. Just sort of a spinning top. So right now, price really hasn't made up its mind what it wants to do. Stretch it out a little bit for you. And this happens, right? You just have to be patient. And I'm fine no matter which direction it wants to go. If it wants to start falling, that's fine. Okay, we could look for some sort of an entry here. And our first obstacle would be the 20 SMA. I'm on the 15-minute right now. That would be our first obstacle, okay? And that's sort of confluent with where this pivot is. So we've got to watch the pivot. If it would get through the pivot, like I said, then you're talking about getting down here to 29.34.75, or maybe even the bottom of this candle down around 29.30.31. Maybe even opening price. How often do we see that, right? Where price will make a strong move throughout the day, and then at the end of the day, it reverts back to opening price, or vice versa, right? It'll have a strong decline during the day, and at the end of the day, it moves its way back up to opening price. We know that that happens a lot. So right now, we're just, we're in a holding pattern right here. Let me set an alert back up to this side as well. And if our alerts go off, then we will we'll know what's going on here. Okay, so we have that set. Now, let's go to a 5-minute chart. These are the three that I predominantly look at. I'm convinced that when I'm doing the live stream, it must affect my Thinkorswim somehow, because today my Thinkorswim has been acting absolutely fine all day. Now we're on the live stream and it seems to be acting up. So I'm thinking it has something to do with the live stream. Okay, so here we are on the 5-minute. Now remember, the 20 SMA on the 5-minute is the last 20 5-minute candles. Look where it caught support, right here at the 20. So in this 5-minute, obviously, where I have my alert set, if we would take that out, that means we're below the 20, right? But see where it caught support? So this is on the 5-minute, so it's trying to push its way back up now. Trying to push its way back up. So we'll see what it does. But now you can see here on the 5-minute, you see how much more, I call it noise, that we get. Is it easier to find potential trades to take? Not necessarily the highest quality, let's put it that way, but more, yeah, okay? Because look at stuff like this right here, right? So here, that's sort of a hammer. This is a gravestone doji. So we definitely, you could look to go short right there. Target for me would be the bottom of this candle, right? You see it got down below opening price level, comes back around, back down to opening price level, and then this is where it started to climb. Okay, had a little structure back to the 20. This is almost a little J hook here, except that with a J hook, you typically go up sharper. And Tammy, I know you're new. So what a J hook is just what it sounds like. Price goes up, comes back typically to the 20, curls around, and then will like hook off of the 20 and go up and get a pop. And it's usually shaped sort of like a J. That's why they call it a J hook. So this is sort of, but you see once it came around and popped, then it had this nice steady climb up until we got here. Then we pulled back, okay, came just under the 20, back up to the 20, back down, sort of formed a little bit of a double bottom here. Can you guys see this? I'm talking about the 5-minute. I'll draw it in. Okay, down, back up, down, then up again, right? And we come back over here, okay, pulls back down near the 20, back up, back to the 20, and right now we're right here, so we're going to see what we're going to do. Yusuf, possibly, right? Like you and I private chatted earlier. Does it make sense that we would see a pullback? It does, but so far we haven't seen it, right? So we just trade what we see. We trade what price action gives us, and we try not to let our opinions get in the way of profits, right? Because I agree with Yusuf. Let's go back to the 30-minute. Okay, look at this move. In fact, I have to even squeeze it in. Okay, look at this move from here. Okay, look how strong this move has been going, and look how far the 20 is getting away from the 200 and the angle that it's going up at, right? We talk about that a lot, that's important, because we know that as long as price is moving at about a 45-degree angle, 40 to 45-degree angle, it could go on like that for a long time. But when you start to see these sharp moves up, okay, that are 65, 75, 90-degree angles to the upside, and the 20 gets far away from the 200 and price gets far away from the 20, that's when you're at risk, okay, of some exhaustion and getting a pullback. Now, it might only be a pullback somewhere near the 20, okay, like right here. See that? See how it's been bouncing right near the 20? Okay, it doesn't have to touch it. All right, so like if it came down, you know, and just got near the bottom of this candle, that would be near the 20. All right, so I agree with Yusuf that it looks like it could have the opportunity to pull down now. Okay, so we're starting to go red. We have that alert at 29.49.75. We're just a couple dollars from that. In fact, let me get an order ready just in case. All right. All right, so I have an order ready just in case it takes that out and feels like it wants to start moving back down. Now we are on, this is the 30-minute. Today, I haven't traded as much today. I did early. I haven't taken as many trades this afternoon, which you really shouldn't. You shouldn't trade as much between like noon and 2, 11:30 and 2, depending on the volume of action. Not necessarily the volume, but the volume of action. It typically slows down. Tammy, it depends. It depends. So you're asking, how do I select my option strike? On an expiry day, I'm usually either at the money or near the money. So if I come back over here, right, this is at the money. This would be near the money. This is in the money. Okay, so I would be near the money right there. But I'm also understanding that before I enter, price is going, this strike will move to here. And it will be in the money, and I will actually be at the money. So on expiry day, I'm typically either at or near the money. You don't really need to get into like delta and stuff like that unless you're playing a trade that's further out. Like I would only plan on being in this trade, you know, in a perfect world, 5 to 15 minutes. Okay, so something like delta does not really bother me or affect me at all when I'm scalping. Now, if I was taking a longer term trade, absolutely. So right now, what I'm looking at is price action. Okay, so just the things that we just talked about. All right, knowing that price has been making these sharp, that was like a 90-degree move, then we based, and this was like a 90-degree move, then we pulled back, and then a sharp move up. You know, at some point, it's going to tire out and it's going to pull back. Now, how far, like I said, it may only come to this pivot. It may come down to this price level. It may come down here. It may come down to wherever the 20 is. It may come and blast all the way through it and come down to here, right? Is that going to happen today? I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that there's a potential that it could come down here. Okay, maybe not today, maybe overnight session, tomorrow, you know, something like that. But we've been making such a strong move to the upside that at some point the market has to rest. So the market breathes, right? In and out, in and out. Okay, so when we're working our way up, We're taking in a lot of air. We're expanding and expanding. Well, at some time we have to exhale, right? People need to take profits. Institutions and bigger money traders, they're getting to levels where they think, okay, this is no longer a value for me anymore, right? This isn't a value for me anymore. So they exit. And when that starts to happen and some stops start to get taken out, that's when you can start to see price moving the other direction. So still, so far, again, we're on the 30-minute right now. So far, we haven't taken the bottom of this candle out. We've got a little bit less than 7 minutes to go on this candle. We'll watch it and see if it's going to do anything. What happens a lot of the times, and that's why I went ahead and set the alerts even though we were talking on this chart, is it won't do anything for 10 or 15 minutes and then all of a sudden it'll start to move one direction or the other, right? Now, is that algos kicking in? Is that, just a flood of buyers or sellers coming into the market? Who knows? I mean, it could just be an algo kicking in, and if it moves a certain direction, then the buyers and sellers jump on the bandwagon. But, scalping, sometimes there's a lot of downtime, right? You're just waiting. Again, I know what I'm looking for here, so I don't have to necessarily go to the 15 and the 5 and so on and so forth. I would much rather, just like I told you in the room, Tammy, I would much rather take the majority of my trades off of the 30-minute. Okay? More often than not, they're a higher quality trade. Not always. I mean, obviously, I got stopped out already, okay, when this broke here, okay, broke here and then came back. Now, if it takes this out, okay, what do we have? A single candle power reversal, right? Because we took out both sides in that case, both sides of this candle. Okay. I thought it was starting to move back down, but kind of slowed up there. So we'll watch this for a second. Since it's close enough, I'll watch it. I have an order already preloaded if it does take it out. On the way up, though, I do want to stress that on the way up, okay, there have been some great opportunities. So here, this was an inside candle, right? Here was opening candle. Now I did trade this, and this I did trade on a smaller time frame. I traded up and I traded down. So I caught both directions of this morning. I put it in the room. Okay, then we had an inside candle. So you take out the top of this inside candle, right? You can get in. My target, right, would be the top of this wick, even though you take it out, right, just in case you get up in there and then it reverses. And then it went and it climbed. Then again, pull back, right? Pull back. Inside candle, you could try to take this, right? If it, well, really either direction, okay? But if it takes it out, which it did, you can try to take that. Now, if it starts to bounce, you got to get out, right? But this, after this nice pullback, even though this isn't a great hammer, still, we know the trend was up. We had nice structure back to here. Then when it forms this and takes out the top of this, what I like better than anything is the way these candles were lined up. Small wick, small wick, small wick, nice diagonal, high probability we were going to get that big green candle, which we did. That's how they're formed. Okay, again, Tammy, I know you're new to the premium room. This is how we know or anticipate when a big green candle could form. Doesn't necessarily have to. Okay, but the right conditions are lined up. So each time it takes out a candle, price, just like over here, when we took out the top, it popped up about $1. Okay, sometimes it'll pop up $2 or $3. So then that gets you to the top of the next candle. And if you get into those stops, it pops you up again, and that takes you to the top of this candle. And it just keeps happening and happening, and that's what creates this big green candle. And then eventually there's nothing else to take out. I was looking for it to hopefully get up here, but price stalled out right here at this level, had a little pullback, and then right here's where we're at currently. So right now, again, just in a holding pattern to see if this candle's going to do anything, up or down. And we don't care. Now, I have a preloaded order for it to go down, but I could very easily just hit clear and go to a different side. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the different time frames again, and we'll see what it looks like on a 15-minute. Okay, here we are in a 15-minute. Nothing, right? Whole lot of indecision. That's all this is right here, a whole lot of indecision. Okay, let's go to a 5-minute. Okay, 5-minute. Here, if we could have took the bottom of this out, sorry about that. All right, let me get it back where I need it. If we would have took the bottom of this out and started down, that would have been a good sign on the 5-minute, and then we would have been looking for this pivot down here. But what happened? We reclaimed the 20, and right now we're still above the 20 on the 5-minute. Because remember, your 20 and your 200 are going to be different on every time frame. This is just the last 20 candles, the average of the last 20. This is the average of the last 200. Okay, both of them are slightly sloping up here on the 5-minute, right? Saying positive, saying strength. If we look, let me come back. We'll look at the differences. Okay, here on the 15-minute, same thing, right? Both, but we do have a big distance here. The wider this gets, the more likely at some point we're going to see something to pull back. All right, so they're both sloping up. Now let's look at the 30. The 30-minute. So on the 30-minute, the 200 is relatively flat, but look at the sharp angle. Okay, the sharp angle. That's probably about a 65 or 70 degree angle on the 20. And again, look at the distance here. Look at the distance. Even if you're a long side, you like to trade long, it almost would be better if it pulled back even to this pivot level, let the 20 catch up a little bit and then bounce. Okay, not saying you can't take this trade, because you absolutely can. All right, you can definitely take a trade up here. And another thing that we have to keep in mind is how much upside do we have left? Okay, it's still trying to push higher right here. It almost got up to my alert. Now that's not where I would enter. So let me get rid of this other trade just in case. Okay, now I have one ready to the upside just in case. See how right now it's just like even here, up and down, nothing. Here it went down, back up. Here it's been moving to the upside. So let's see, are we going to get any follow through? Okay, there was my alert. So now I'm just ready just in case. Okay, what do we need? We need the top of this candle to be taken out. And we know it's 29.56.50 because that was the high. So you see how it popped up a little bit, pulls back. The funny thing is, I've already looked at this, the resistance over to the left, and I have to go to a different time frame to be able to show it, and I'm kind of watching to see if we can enter this trade. It's not a lot. I mean, there are a couple of like small pivots over here, over there to the left, going back in time, you know, right around this level, but it's not like any big wicks or sharp pivots. It's really surprising to me that all the way through here, here, and so far here, there's been so much resistance. Okay, now that could be new traders or new positions coming into the market, right? It could just be that there are people coming into the market up here who'd like to see it start going the other way. And so they're keeping it from going higher. I mean, that's just the theory. Don't know that for a fact, right? We don't know why this is not, they're not able to break this level. In fact, let me do this. I think I just have to go to the 1 hour and I can show you. Okay, so we're right here. Okay, we are at 55 basically, and that's the top of this candle. All right, now there is a little bit as a 1 candle base on a 1 hour chart, right? Pushed down, came back up, but that actually, right, that would be going our direction. That's showing buying pressure. Then it was overwhelmed with selling pressure, but still, you know, this I wouldn't think would act as such resistance, right? Now, yeah, I just don't see it. I just don't see why it's acting as the resistance that it is. Now, for it to turn around, you know, once, maybe twice, sure, I can see that for sure. Absolutely. All right, it's trying to move up again. We're ready if it decides to start to pop. Has to take out 29.5650. So really we need it at like 29.57 before I'm really interested in entering. I like it to be 2 or 3 ticks above. You know, because a lot of times what'll happen, just like here, it comes right up to the top and then rejects. Or here, barely pokes above and rejects. So I personally like to see it 2 or 3 ticks above or below if I'm entering. And even at that, that's not always going to give you, you know, it's not always guaranteeing that you're going to get the move. In fact, I'm a little bit leery right here. I'm a little bit leery. It could just absolutely rip. I mean, it could. In fact, let's do this. Let's look at it on a 4 hour. Okay, here we are on a 4 hour. Right? So we're above that. We're right here. This is what's holding us up on the 4 hour, right here. Okay, and then up here, this looks like it could be some resistance because that's the sharp pivot right there. See that? That's your sharp pivot. Now, if you break that, let's see where we could go. All right, there's price. So if we break, where are we at? We're up here. If we break this, okay, it's lined up that price could really accelerate. Now, again, I'm not saying today. It could accelerate up to around this level. Let me see here. $29.54. 53. Yeah, we break here. I would at least think we should get up there, if not all the way up here. Now there is a level of resistance in between there at 30.14. This is the 4-hour. So let me come back over to where we're at. Let me squeeze this in. Okay, and we know, right, we're inside of a bigger broadening formation, and we had a broadening triangle inside of one, right? So we're inside of a bigger one, and we had one in here, which, let me take a look here. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. That we broke through earlier, right here. Okay, so another thing that could happen if we don't see any acceleration to the upside is maybe we get up here to this pivot and turn back around and come back and retest the top of this. That is also possible. Okay, we got lots of scenarios that we need to keep in mind as we watch this price action. But right now, we're just sort of stalled out right here. Okay, so are we basing to go higher? Are we basing to take a drop? And if we could break through this pivot, I think it's really likely that we get down into here. Why? Because this was a strong rally, base, rally. Strong rally, base, 3-candle base, 4-candle base, strong rally. Okay, so if it would come back this direction and we could break this pivot, it would be highly likely we get down into here. To the upside, see why I say I'm a little bit leery about the upside, not saying that we can't get something going, is we know that that pivot is over there between 29.61 and 29.65. That's the pivot before a strong move down. So that definitely, that's got to be on your mind, right? You wouldn't want to, if you were looking at a trade, you wouldn't want to be buying way out here just because the prices are cheap, okay? Because the odds of you getting there would be really low. And premium is burning off fast. I don't know if you guys noticed or not. When I originally placed this trade, the premiums were up in the mid to high 3s, and they're already down into the low 3s, and price is basically the same exact spot. Let's go back over. We've had a really strange day here weather-wise. It was beautiful this morning, poured the rain down for a while. I mean, poured it down. Now it's like sort of overcast, sun peeking out, overcast. So we'll see what happens. I think it's supposed to be nice tomorrow and then rain for like three or 4 days. Okay, it's trying. It's trying. 29.56.50. So again, we need it to like 29.57 at a bare minimum. And if for some reason it would pop through that pivot, it could really take off. It could. Okay, but that pivot, right? That pivot, we know led to a strong downside move that happened over, I think, a couple of days, if I remember right. So I wouldn't bank on it, but anything can happen. Like we broke through supply earlier today like it was nothing. Okay, 29.56. We're starting to get closer. $29.56.25. And this is one of these plays where if I don't get filled, if I happen to miss the move, you know, so be it. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, we're right up there, 29.56.50. I'm going to check the level 2 just real quick here. No really big numbers over here. Not that it would matter. $75. Okay, here we're watching. 57. $57.25. Okay, I'm in. We're going to try it. Got filled at 4. Yeah, got filled at 4. So now we gotta hope we get some sort of a spike here. Even if it's only a few dollars, we don't need much. In fact, if it got up around 29.60, I would probably just look to exit. Let's see if it can play out or not. Okay, now I entered at 29.57.50, and as you can see, it pulled back from there. So I really need it. I need to get it up around 29.60 to 61. So we're just waiting now. If it starts to push down, I'm going to have to look to exit. See, we're just not getting any follow through as of right now. Not saying we won't. I told you I was a little bit leery up here. Come on now, let's get a spike. Okay, where price is at now is the top of this candle right here. So we need to get back above there. And then we'd like to see it at least spike up near this level. See, it's still struggling right in through here. We got time on the candle, but even though we got time on the candle, obviously I don't want to let price go against me here. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. Sometimes the second time that it pops above is when you'll get your pop. So what was this? It was 29.56.50. So we'd have to pop above that again. Now I've got to watch here. It looks like price might start to drop. We don't want that. Okay, if we don't see a bounce here soon, I'm going to have to exit. When it gets back down around where it opened up, that's your critical area there. Sometimes it'll go back down there and then all of a sudden it'll bounce back up. But other times, if it gets there and then starts to go red, you have to be careful. A lot of waiting here. I do not like being in trades for a long time, especially near the end of the day. So we're struggling right here, right around the opening price of this candle. We've been down to it a couple of times. It's barely popped up a little bit. I'd feel a lot better if we could get back up around the top of this candle here. This is the agonizing part, just sitting here watching it while you don't know, hey, is it going to reverse and go back my way, or is it going to start to drop and am I going to have to exit for a loss? Which is fine. Exiting for a loss is fine. Because if you're wrong and you want to get out of the way. Okay, I got to get out of the way. Let me see here. Took me 2 tries to get out. All right, that one hurt. Okay, that one was not good. So now we have to turn around and we got to see Okay, we got to see, is it going to start to fall the other direction? If it is, then I can look to enter there and go the other way. So just what I told you, I was leery up here, and as you can see, we got no follow through. So that's happened twice, right? It happened here when we broke there, and it happened when we broke here. So now are we going to get this fall and start to move back down? That's what we're looking for. Okay, got a trade loaded just in case. Now, as you can see here, price is sort of expanding. See that? This is on the 30-minute. It's been testing its boundaries that way. Really, I take that back. It's only been testing its boundaries that way. It has not. This is sort of flat here. So again, as Yusuf and I was talking about, it feels like this would be the better play if it broke down. But again, we don't know what price is going to do here. Let's look at some other time frames and just see what they look like. Okay, on the 15-minute, look at that. The 15-minute came down, got right to the bottom here, and started bouncing back up. We know on the 15, if it does start to come down, it's got to get below here. Then it has to get below this pivot. If we look over here at the time frames, the 15 is red, but the 30, the 60, the 4-hour, and the daily are all green. Now that's just one factor, though. Don't look, even if these were all green, if you know you have an obstacle in the way, okay, you have to be careful, right? That's why I was saying I was a little bit leery about upside. I would prefer to see a downside move. I would prefer to see a downside move. Don't know if we'll get it or not. Okay, let's look at the 5-minute. Okay, 5-minute, look at this. Let me get in a little bit closer. Of course, this thing is, I'm sure it must have something to do with when I'm on the live stream. It plays havoc with it. See if I can get just a little bit closer for you. Okay, so on the 5-minute, see where the 20 is and see what happened? It poked below it but couldn't hold it. Now it's still above as of right now. So are we going to take this out and start to move back higher? That's on the 5-minute. So you see how going from time frame to time frame gives you different scenarios, different viewpoints. However, overall, when you're on these bigger time frames, like a 30-minute, okay, it gives you a clearer picture, clearer. So on that 5-minute, where we've seen it come down and kind of bounce back up, that's just this wick right here. That's what that is. So that was like 3 candles, right? It was a move down, then there was like a hammer, and it was starting to move back up. That's just this wick. That's all it is. Now, honestly, yeah, Yusuf, for sure. Honestly, I personally would much rather see it break down because I think there's more potential for a downside move. But just because that's what I want, or that I look at the chart and think that that might be what's going to happen, you can't jump in right now and say, okay, well, I think it's going to break down, so I'm going to get short right now because that'll give me a couple extra bucks if it does go my way. You don't want to do that because there's absolutely no signal right now telling us that that's what's going to happen. Just looking at some things here. Okay, we're almost to power hour here. We got 45 seconds. That's right, Tammy. You don't want to guess, okay? When you take the break of a candle, that's one thing. But to jump in the middle of price action and say, I think it's going to go one way or the other, you're just setting yourself up for failure. Okay, there's a lot of people that try to trade right in the middle and they just get chopped up, right? They just get chopped up. I've said this before on live streams. I heard it somewhere else. There's a couple different people that say it, but I think originally I heard it from John Carter, and it's somebody who works for him. John Carter's the guy that owns Simpler Options. His whole fame, by the way, before I tell the story, his whole fame is off of one trade. He had a multi-million-dollar trade, several years ago or whatever, and like all his fame and notoriety came from that trade. Now he's a pretty smart guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a pretty smart guy, but he built, sort of a trading empire based on like one really successful trade that he took. But anyway, I think it's somebody who works for him because he's got all these different people, and they have like their own. Even though he is basically a spread trader and an options trader, he has different people who work for him that put out videos and do run rooms and things like that have different strategies than he does. And they all fall under the Simpler Options umbrella. But I think it's one of the people that works for him, and her famous phrase is, don't diddle in the middle. Don't diddle in the middle. Okay, if you're messing around in this kind of stuff, okay, here, if you're messing around in that kind of stuff, you're going to lose more often than you're going to win. Occasionally, you may jump in the middle and guess right and be right, but you're going to guess wrong more often than not. All right, you see here, like again, now it's starting to poke its head back up. So I'm just telling you right now, because we're going to be getting off of here. I personally am not interested in any long trades. Okay, I've been burned twice. You guys have watched me. I've had a really good day up until right here. I've been burned twice trying to go long when I told you I didn't feel good about going long. I should have just listened to my own intuition and just not went long. But even if this breaks above, I'm not interested in anything long. What I'm looking for is a break below here and then a break below here. Okay, if this would come back through and take this alert out, I may go short small. And then if we would somehow take this pivot out, I may add. And then I would be looking at either the 20 or somewhere down around here as a potential exit point. Okay, but that's only if that happens. So I'm just telling you as we're getting ready to get off of here, if this breaks here and goes long, I'm not interested. There's just too, right now, look at, just go back through right through here. Okay, there's just too much evidence right now that says that's just not a smart play. Now, if it breaks there and rips, so be it, right? so be it. I don't want to be the guy who, okay, take this one, get stopped out. Take this one, take a loss. That was more than a stop out, by the way. And I was fine with the risk, but that was more than a stop out on that one. This was a stop out. This was more than a stop out. So if this takes us out and starts to go up, I don't want to be the guy that, okay, you burn me once, right? You burn me twice, and I still jump in and I get burned in a third time. Okay, that's not for me. So, yeah, Tammy, you're right. It was a Tesla trade. It was a Tesla trade. And I don't remember the exact number. I want to say made like 1.4 or 1.8 million dollars on one trade. But he is a smart guy and he's a nice guy too. Like I know some other trading coaches that run rooms, and a couple of them have called him on the phone before. They all say he's super nice and talks to anybody. But like from a trading perspective, he kind of has his way of doing things. He's, like I said, he's really big on options and he's really big on spreads. He likes spread trading. But there are other people that work for him that, there's swing trading people, and there's people that, play all different kinds of different scenarios and strategies. Some people are into the commodities and they trade, oil and gold and soybeans and stuff like that. And then other people trade equities, and some people trade futures and ETFs and things like that. So, but if you ever want to watch good videos on spread trading, just Google John Carter, credit spreads, and it'll bring up videos on spread trading, which I do occasionally. So, okay, we've been on here a little over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. I'll see everybody in the room. Again, be careful, especially long. If it starts to break down, there may be some opportunity there, but we're also getting late in the day. So, again, don't wait till after 3:30 and start jumping into stuff, because you could get burned that way. If you're going to take any trades, I would take them before then. And if they ride in to that last half hour a little bit, that's okay. But I wouldn't take any new ones during that last 15 to 30 minutes. So I'll see you guys in the room. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye.